What's up everybody, AnimeX here, and in this video I will be adding yet another chapter into the What If AnimeX was in Naruto series. You guys obviously know why y'all are getting another part. You bodies on the like button as well as me receiving a ton of positive reception to this video and the chapters in general. So here we are yet again with another chapter, with this part. You guys know the deal, these videos tend to be quite long, so get a snack, some food, or something to eat, find you a comfy spot to lay or sit down in, and get ready to watch the video. As usual, I'll be recapping in the last part, or the last chapter, and then jumping into the new material. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, in the last chapter of this What If, we basically had been talking about Kirai's relationship with Naruto. That had been established a lot, just the development between Naruto and Kirai. And we had basically just talked a little bit about going further into Kirai's development and just talking about that. What went past chapter 1 in terms of the story, and we're basically going to jump right back into this next chapter with Kirai heading home and seeing something that was horrible. So we left off on that cliffhanger, so that's where we're going to jump back into the story. We start this chapter exactly where we left off, with Kirai Kadoku standing in his doorway and seeing an awful sight that brings complete fear and terror to his heart. He sees his home, which is usually enveloped in light colors, even in the night, which is now completely covered in blood and gore. His eyes dart around his house, taking in everything. All he can see within his dark house is blood. Kirai's eyes continuously expand as he can only imagine what had to have happened within his home for this much blood and all this red stuff to be in his home. Then, as he stands within the doorway, the stench of blood and death hits his nose and Kirai doubles over, vomiting at his doorstep and falling to his knees. Through his fits of sickness, tears fall from his face. He really starts to get an idea of what could have possibly happened, and he calls out to his sisters, "Yui! Nico!" He wipes his face with his sleeve and rushes into his house. He looks around, covering his nose, blocking out the insanely horrid smell of death. He runs to the kitchen in search of his sisters or any trace of them, and he sees that a knife is on the ground, covered in blood. Most likely, their blood. Just as he's about to reach down to pick up the knife, he hears a scream upstairs. Based on the tone, he can tell that it's Nico. Nico! Kirai then turns around instantly, running to the stairs and flying up them in seconds as soon as the sound touches his ear. As soon as he reaches the second floor of his house, he sees something truly horrifying, even worse than what he initially saw in his doorway. Nico is lying in a pool of blood that seems almost impossible to produce single-handedly. Kirai then rushes to his sister's aid and kneels next to her. "Nico." He shakes her limp body as he calls her name. "Nico? Nico! Nico!" Kirai shakes his sisters as tears stream down his face and onto the blood pool. "Nico, no! Nico! Nico, please respond. Please! Please!" Kirai pulls his sister close to his body. "Nico, please don't go. Please don't leave me alone." Nico then gasps for air and Kirai pulls back. "Nico? Nico, speak to me. Where is Yui? I'll get both of you to the hospital right now. Just tell me where she is." Kirai shakes Nico a bit, trying to make sure that she stays conscious and doesn't fall back into her unconscious, near-death state. Kirai then sees a single tear fall from her eyes, and for the first time in Kirai's entire life, he feels despair. His reason is simple. Never has he ever, once in all 6 years of his life within the village, has seen his sister cry out of sadness or fear. Not even when both their mother or father had been taken away from him within the same day she cried. Not a single time. Not Nico. But now, in this situation, a tear fell from the nearly emotionless and unstoppable older sister of his. This shakes him to his core, and he himself starts feeling tears well up in his eyes. "I'm so sorry, Kirai. Please run. Run! He'll kill you if you don't run, so go!" Kirai's eyes widen. "Kill me? Kill me too? Wait, Nico, where's Yui? Where is she?" Nico's eyes then, for a brief second, flash to her side, and Kirai catches his swift movement. Kirai starts to get up to look in that direction, but Nico touches her brother's face, trying to deter him. Kirai, don't look at that. If you do, she gulps. You may never be the same. You won't be able to recover from seeing that. Don't! Kirai pulls away, ready to go help Yui as he turns. And as soon as he does this image, this horrible sight burns itself into his mind. No. Kirai then falls to his knees. No. Not Yui. Not like this. I can't go on like this. Kirai's eyes are now closed as tears just fall through and he has his hands over his eyes. Nico, Yui, Mom, Dad, Naruto, I can't do this. I can't live in a world where everyone is taken from me. I won't live like this. Kirai then slams his fist into the ground as it's blood-soaked. Damn it! Why? Why is my life like this? Why can't anyone be here to stay? I'd rather just die than live a life this way. Then, as soon as Kirai utters these words, as soon as he says his thoughts, he feels a tingle in his spine, and his hairs on the back of his neck bristle. You don't want to live in this sort of world? I'd be happy to oblige. Kirai remembers his voice, but cannot place a name to it. Then, just as the thought of who it is about to connect, Kirai feels a sharp pain in his chest, then sees a sea of red. He quickly looks down at his own chest and sees a blade coming through it, soaking his shirt in blood, and Kirai's eyes droop. As soon as this happens, and Kirai's on the verge of breaking and dying and shattering mentally and physically, he sees a flash of red and black and his eyes fly open. He looks around briefly and notices many differences in his atmosphere and in his environment. First off, the most jarring thing is it's daytime. He's at the academy, and he seems to be outside with Sasuke just as he was earlier today. As all of this hits Naruto, something fully clicks and combines when he looks at Fugaku Uchiha and hears him speak to Sasuke. Kirai's surprised expression meets Fugaku Uchiha's face, which has a smug smile on it. You. Kirai then remembers everything that previously happened within this dreamlike state. His sister's death, his own death, and the culprit of all that pain and suffering. Kirai's eyes then scrunch up in anger and he leaps at Fugaku, kunai in hand. He then leaps and swipes at Fugaku's throat for the first time in his life, trying to fully kill someone, not once wondering of whether he should kill someone. He's fully bloodlusted. Fugaku catches this attack quite easily and punches Kirai in the face, knocking him away. What is your friend doing, Sasuke? Keep him in line. Kirai then spits his blood on the ground with his eyes staying off of Fugaku's eyes and only onto his torso. Don't play dumb with me, you bastard. I know what you did. Kirai then crouches, subtly picking up some dust in his left hand and a spare shuriken in his right hand. When we made eye contact, you used your Sharingan to place me in a Genjutsu. I don't know why you did that, but you'll pay for that. Kirai then runs at Fugaku wildly and completely out for blood. Kirai then throws a kunai at Fugaku Uchiha, which he catches pretty easily. Then, Kirai leaps into the air and throws a punch straight for Fugaku's throat. Fugaku quickly moves his hand to block this attack from Kirai. Then, he opens his hand, releasing the dust into his face and into the eyes of Fugaku. The dust actually successfully blinds him, and Kirai cocks his other arm back as he's about to swing it at Fugaku's face. And as he swings it, just before this attack can truly connect and truly land, however, someone else grabs his arm. He looks back in surprise and sees Sasuke Uchiha himself grabbing Kirai's right arm before he tucks his shoulder and slams Kirai back onto his back, stopping the attack and enraging Kirai even further. Kirai flips back up, ready to keep going, but then, before he can make a beeline for Fugaku, once more, the bell rings, just like it already had once for Fugaku, or for Kirai. Fugaku then wipes the dust out of his eyes and gestures for Sasuke to start walking. Fugaku himself, however, slides over to Kirai and leans next to him before whispering, You have quite a strong will, Kirai. It's really impressive, really. I had just wanted to test if you were truly like your father, and I can fortunately say you take more after your father than your mother in terms of your battle prowess and mental stability. Fugaku's then somewhat lighthearted tone changes very quickly with enough malice behind it to nearly crush Kirai's spirit. Kirai Kadoku, If you ever, and I mean ever, attack me in such a way again, I'll turn that dream that I gave you into a reality. Fugaku then stands back up, completely straight, and walks away, catching up to his son. Kirai stands in place, knowing that he won't be able to move or think without bursting into tears or exploding in an inexplicable, uncontrollable rage. So he waits until his body's tension loosens, and Naruto walks over to him, placing his hand on Kirai's shoulder, I should say. This loosens some of the tension and brings Kirai back into his normal, non-violent, non-confrontational state. Kirai, you alright? He snaps out of his anger and hatred as he's brought back into his reality. Yeah. Yeah, of course, Naruto. Why do you ask? Well, 'cause your hand is bleeding. I was just wondering if you hurt yourself with the kunai. Naruto points at Kirai's balled up fist, which he sees is squeezing so hard that blood is oozing from it. Kirai quickly opens his hand and shakes it around, the pain of his hand shocking him quite a bit. Yeah, sorry Naruto. Just cut myself with a kunai like you said. Naruto then raises an eyebrow to this statement, but lets it go for the time being. Okay. Anyways, Kirai, do you want to hang out today? I don't really have a booked schedule, so we could go have some fun. Kirai nods to this, but turns back to the direction of Sasuke and his father, and starts scowling. Yeah, we can hang out, just let me go get my food from Iruka-sensei, okay? Naruto nods, sitting in the dirt while Kirai heads back inside to talk to Iruka about the food. Iruka, sir, you said that if I had a bullseye, you'd buy me food for a month, right? Iruka, when hearing Kirai's voice, gets a little startled and turns around. Oh, Kirai. Of course. Instead of buying you the food, I'll just give you the money to do that yourself. Is that okay? Kirai nods. Of course, sir. Iruka then reaches into his pockets, and one of the pockets located on his Chunin vest, and pulls out some money. Here, this is 5,000 yen. That should be enough for a month of food, right? Kirai's eyes light up when he sees that bag full of money, and it's basically more money than he's ever seen in that lifetime, or in his lifetime, which is pretty impressive to say the least. Thank you so much, sir. I won't forget this. Kirai then bows and runs out of the academy doors and heads over to Naruto. Come on, Naruto, let's go. I'm going to show you my house. Naruto's eyes light up with happiness and joy as they both rush over to Kirai's house. While running, Kirai and Naruto are both laughing and smiling, nearly running into other people and knocking them over. During the run, Kirai's smile feels weird on his face as he stops short of his house and he remembers why he was upset earlier. As Naruto stops behind him, Kirai takes in a deep breath, and he walks over to the door before swinging it wide open. He braces himself mentally, but as he opens the door, he doesn't see what he saw in that dreamlike state, confirming that it was all a Genjutsu, and all he sees is his two sisters sitting and talking in the main downstairs area. When they hear him open the door, they quickly stop talking and get up to greet Kirai. Hey Kirai, how was school? Without answering, Kirai runs to the arms of Yui and Nico and pulls them in for a hug, burying his face into their shirts. Tears well up in his eyes as he holds them together. I love you guys. Kirai is saying this not because he doesn't feel this way. He truly does feel this way every day, but now he just feels that he needs to say this because he's seen them dead, essentially. This Genjutsu that Fugaku, for some reason, placed him under has shown him how quickly they could be taken away from him and how quickly they could be stripped from his life, so he feels more appreciation. Yui, when seeing her brother show so much affection and just basically and truly act his age, is happy and ecstatic from this. Aw, Kirai, you're finally acting like a 6-year-old, aren't you? I'm so happy. Aren't you happy, Nico? Nico, when being hugged by her brother, is startled and has a slight smile creep up on her face. But as Yui asks her about this, Nico pushes her brother away and folds her arms. Don't act like such a big baby, Kirai. Kirai pulls back from both of his sisters and wipes the tears from his face. He then turns around, and his face turns bright red when he remembers that he brought Naruto, his new friend, with him. I almost forgot. Naruto, this is Yui and Nico. Yui and Nico, this is Naruto. He's my friend. Naruto waves at the two sisters with a melancholic, wistful smile, almost wishing that he had had something similar relationship-wise or family-wise. Yui, when seeing the young Naruto, rushes over to him to shake his hand. "Aw, you're Kirai's friend? You are so cute!" She pinches his cheek. "I bet your mom and dad are very happy that their son turned out so cute, huh?" Naruto then looks down. Yeah, I don't have a family, actually." Yui takes a step back in remorse for her comment and apologizes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Naruto cuts her off. It's fine, you didn't know, but no. I don't have any parents or siblings or really anyone. And until I met Kirai, I had never actually had a friend either. Kirai, when hearing all of this for the first time, or for the first real time, or I guess for the second time in his mind, he actually closes his hand and walks over to Naruto. "Naruto, you should know better. We aren't friends. We're brothers." Kirai then pulls Naruto in for a half hug, half high five combo, and Naruto feels a weird twinge in his heart as Kirai says this. "Brothers? You mean it, Kirai?" Kirai smiles genuinely and moves the hair out of his eyes as he looks at Naruto. "Of course I mean it, Naruto." Kirai then turns back to his sisters, who are just watching with a happy expression on his face. Oh yeah, me and Naruto are going to hang out for a while. Is that okay?" Yui nods and Nico doesn't scowl at this question, which usually indicates that she is okay with it. Nico then speaks up just a little bit before they leave. "Hey Kirai, you said you bring back food and money every day you go to the academy. Just remember, Dad didn't raise someone who couldn't keep their word." Kirai nods. "I know, Nico. Here you go. This should last us for, I don't know, a month?" Kirai then tosses her a bag of money filled to the brim with yen, and Nico's eyes widen. "How did you..." "Dad didn't raise a liar, right?" Kirai and Naruto then laugh and rush out of the doorway. Yui sighs and puts her hands on her hips as she sees the two children laughing and running out of the door. "So cute, aren't they?" Nico nods to this, but has a serious expression on her face all throughout. "Enough talk about that. We need to go grocery shopping with the money Kirai brought back for us, okay?" Yui nods as she grabs the bag and walks out of the home. The two sisters walk to the nearest store to buy supplies for the month. Just as they do every week, they leave when they know that Kirai will be having too much fun and excitement to really know that they'll be exhausted later on throughout the day. As they walk in silence, Yui decides to fill the empty space with speech, just like she usually seems to do. "So, Nico, I know we both work in the same area, and you don't have a shift today, right?" Nico nods. "Yeah, that's right. What about it?" Yui looks down at her feet with her red eyes. I just haven't had the chance to visit Mom or Dad in a while, and I was wondering..." Nico cuts her off. "Yeah, of course, Yui. I know that for the past 2 years, you've had to really carry our weight on your shoulders, so giving you a day to visit them is the least that I can do. As for Kirai, I'll make something up for you if he gets back home before you do, okay?" Yui nods slightly as they continue to walk to the store and pick up all the supplies that they can get with the 5,000 yen that Kirai was able to provide for them. After doing this, the two head home, arranging everything in order and cooking up some nice stew for Kirai when he gets home. Yui then heads upstairs and grabs something in her room before leaving the house. "Alright, Nico, I'm off. I'm gonna go visit Dad and Mom, and so just make sure that the house is stable for me." Yui then waves at Nico and rushes out of the doorway. As she walks out of her home, she looks down the road to where she is heading. She then takes in a deep breath and walks down the long road. After walking for several minutes, she arrives at the cemetery where her father has been buried. She walks to the tombstone where her father lies, and she kneels in front of it. She then grabs the object that she had grabbed within her room. It was a simple yet beautiful flower that she had recently bought. The petals of it shine bright red, just like her eyes do, and she lays it down next to her father's grave. As she kneels there, she thinks back to the old times with her and her father playing together and having much fun, just like a father and daughter combo should. She remembers her 14th birthday, the last birthday that she'd really had with her father, and simple tears fall down her face into the soil. Dad? Yui's voice gets choked up when she tries to get the words out. Dad, I know I haven't been able to visit you in a while. I've been busy with work and taking care of my siblings, but I shouldn't make that excuse though. Yui's hands falls to her knees as she feels her chest being compressed with pure emotional instability. Dad, I love you. Kirai loves you. And no matter how little she showed it, Nico does too. And although this pains me to say, I think it was Mom who loved you the most. She just couldn't take the news that you died, apparently. When she heard it, well, the doctors tell me that grief took over her, and she essentially lost the will to live. You must have really been something to have Mom care that much. Yui lets a few more tears fall down her face. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know what you told me. I know what you wanted and expected of me, but I just don't know if I can do it. Every time Kirai speaks of you in any way, or I even see him, I can only think of the fact that you aren't there, Dad. I can only think of the fact that you aren't there to raise your son. Yui digs her hands into her legs as she continues to cry. Dad, I just don't know if I can pretend to be happy and ditzy every time Kirai's around. I feel like my chest is going to burst open every time I smile, Dad, and I just don't know what to do. I know you raised me to be strong and be his rock in case you or Mom couldn't, but I just don't know if I can. Now Yui is to the point where she is uncontrollably crying out to her father. Why, Dad? Why did you place this burden on my shoulders? It's too heavy. It's far too heavy for me. Every day I feel an unimaginable amount of pressure to keep up this facade for Kirai, and I think that if I keep doing this, it will destroy me. I can't be happy enough for Kirai while I myself aren't even happy enough for me. Yui then just bows her head in sadness and exhaustion as she continues to cry, her fingers continuing to dig into her legs. What should I do? I don't know how to stay Kirai's rock. I don't know how to be the person that he can lean on. Yui just lays on the dirt, crying over her father's grave for 5 minutes before she can finally get a hold of herself. I'm going, Dad. I love you. More than you could ever imagine. I'm going to go see Mom now. So, yeah. Yui then gets up and composes herself before trudging back through the village towards the hospital. Now, upon arrival, Yui checks herself into the hospital to check up on her mother, and she walks into the room. Just like Kirai felt the aura of death hanging around his mother, Yui feels it as well. But much unlike Kirai, Yui isn't instantly repulsed by this, and merely embraces this aura as a reality, and as the reality that her mother faces. Yui walks over to her mother's bed and bows formally. Mom, I've come to visit. Yui then sits down next to her mother and holds the hands of her own mother on her own. I visited Dad before I came here. I know I haven't visited in a while, but like I told Dad, I've been busy. Yui's voice trails off as she feels something bubbling up in her chest that she didn't feel with her dad. She can't identify it yet, but whenever her eyes meet her mother's in trance state, she feels it bubbling up inside of her. Mom, Kirai and Nico miss you. Yui stops short of claiming that she misses her mother and catches her breath quickly. She identifies as this intense burning within her stomach. She figures out what this feeling is and puts a name to it. Resentment. Yui feels this whenever she looks at her mother lying in the hospital bed, completely motionless and devoid of any responsibility, shirking her motherly duty, shirking her duty to her children just to always stay strong for them and take care of them no matter what. This feeling is something that Yui hates. She doesn't want this within her heart and within her body, but as she stares at her mother and stays within her mother's hospital room, this overwhelming resentment builds up, and Yui knows that she has to release it in some way, shape, or form, or it's just going to explode in a way that she doesn't want it to later. So she sits down and grips her mother's hand, taking a deep breath. Mom, no matter what I say, just know I love you. Yui's grip tightens. But Mom, I hate that when you heard about Dad, you couldn't keep it together. How could you leave your 3 children, one of them being 4, and leave us to fend for ourselves? I know Dad dying was hard for you, but it was hard for us too, and you made it worse by leaving us. At this point, Yui is now fully embracing the feeling of resentment for her mother, and her not being able to support them. You left a 14-year-old to take the role of the head figure and adult within the house. I shouldn't have had to do that, Mom. You broke mentally because you couldn't take Dad's death, but apparently we weren't enough to keep you sane. We weren't enough for you to continue to will yourself to live, huh? You didn't love Kirai enough, you didn't love Nico enough, and you sure as hell didn't love me enough to keep it together. And now, because of this, Kirai struggles every day, working towards a goal that he, in reality, hates, becoming a shinobi and following in Dad's footsteps. He hates conflicts more than anything, but he does this all because he thinks that if he gets enough money, you'll come back to us and be our mother again. But I know better. I know you won't. I know you can't. You're broken. You're shattered. Once Dad died, once you heard about that, you were done for. Yui then stands up, dry tears on her face and her eyes glowing red with passion. She turns her back to her mother and walks to the door, gripping the doorknob. Goodbye, Mother. She spits these words out like venom and opens the door before closing it behind her and leaving the hospital. And that, everybody, is where I'm going to end Chapter 3 to the What If Anime X, or me, was in Naruto. A lot of things to kind of unpack. First off, I do want to kind of apologize for, like, the semi-break that I've been taking, like the little 2-day break Thursday and Friday. I do hope that this video was enjoyable enough for you guys to, like, make up for it just slightly, right? I just needed to take a little bit of a break. Just focus, not on me, just on sleep. Just focus a little bit on sleep. 2020 grind should be back on schedule, right? We still on that road to 100K, right? And this story in particular is getting a lot of traction that I thoroughly enjoy, right? Like, not necessarily with, like, the clout that it's getting, right? Because the series actually isn't doing particularly amazing, right? It's doing fine, but I just know that, like, it's limited to the amount of people that are subscribed to me, right? So that's fine, perfectly fine. But for example, a possible manga is being worked on for this, right? And animations are actually being worked on for this as well. Not even just by me, by other people, right? That I'll be giving credit to, like, when I do display it in, like, certain aspects of videos and stuff like that. So this is really just the start to me moving forward as a content creator in general, just me improving, all that kind of good stuff. As for this chapter, I hope that you guys did enjoy, like, me developing some of the other characters besides Kirai, right, and besides Naruto. I do want to develop a full cast. I don't want to just make it the Kirai show. I do want to develop Yui, Nico, all the other characters, right, and just really flesh out everything. So I hope you guys did enjoy that. The pacing may have been a little slow. I'm not 100% sure how you guys will receive it. Hopefully you will like it. As usual, I'll leave links to my social media down in the description below. That'll be my Instagram, Twitter, Discord, all that good stuff. So, that's it. As usual, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, guys, this is Anime X, signing off.